G'day guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitars Ready Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you Slow Dancing in a Burning Room by John Mayer, which is probably my favorite song of all time. Now in this lesson, I'm going to teach you a hybrid of the Live in LA version and the studio version. So the most iconic parts from each version, I'll sort of put them all together into one nice arrangement for you. If you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarsreadyhero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you're fairly new to guitar and you're looking to build a solid foundation whilst having fun, then be sure to check out the Guitars Ready Hero Premium course and membership, which gives you all the guidance to play with confidence. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Now, I will note that this lesson teaches you the electric version on the electric guitar. If you want to learn an acoustic version for this song, I also have a lesson for that. The link is in the description. Without any further ado, let's jump into the lesson. Now, I'm assuming most of you want to learn just that iconic intro in the studio version, so I will start there. If you want to learn the full Live in LA intro, I'll teach that later in the video. Timestamps to all the different sections can be found in the description. Now, in terms of guitar tone for this main intro, I'm just using a clean amp channel. I have a spring reverb, and then I'm using a Strat, of course, and I'm on the 4th pickup position, otherwise known as the middle neck position. So it's a combination of the neck and middle pickup. I'll leave a link to my Boss Katana tone patches for this song in the description. So let's start with the main intro. There's 2 lines of tab here. In essence, this intro is just based off of 3 chords. We have a C sharp minor, we have an A chord, and an E chord. But these shapes are just more interesting ways of playing these 3 chords than your regular bar chord and open chords. So to start off, we have 2 lead-in notes which trace the outline of the C sharp minor chord. So we're going to slide our ring finger from the 9th fret, or anywhere you like really, but I'm going to choose the 9th fret of the 5th string. I'm going to hit that and slide up to our 11th. And then with our index finger up to the 9th fret of the 3rd string. So those 2 notes are on the 4 end beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we hold into this position into the next bar. On the 2 beat, we're going to do a muted strum. So what you can do is lift your fretting hand off of those strings. Now you still want to make contact with all of the strings so that nothing is going to ring out if you hit the strings. And we're just going to do a down strum like that on the 2 beat. For the 3rd beat, we'll move our ring finger to the 11th fret of the 4th string, and we're going to focus on these 2 strings, the 4th and 3rd string. Now stylistically, you can also add a rake to this like that. In order to play that, we want to mute the 6th and 5th strings, and we can do that with our free middle finger here, lightly touching those strings but not fretting anything down. That way you can strike those heavier 4 strings and only the 4th and 3rd strings are going to ring out. Then we go down to 9th and 8th fret, so slide your index finger down to the 8th fret, middle finger onto the 8th fret of the 4th string. Just focus on the 4th and 3rd strings, then ring and pinky onto the 11th fret of the 5th and 4th strings, and then index finger bars across the 9th fret of the 5th and 4th. So the second half of this bar, 3 and 4 and together with the lead-in note, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. For the next bar, we'll go to this position. So index finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, middle finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. We'll focus on the 3rd and 2nd strings here. As you hit the 3rd and 2nd strings together, you'll take your ring finger and hammer it onto the 6th fret of the 3rd string. Hold that out. On the 2 beat, we'll lift our ring finger and hit the 3rd and 2nd strings again. And then with your ring finger, go up to the 6th fret of the 4th string. Now, one subtle thing that you'll want to do is also have it up high enough that it's lightly touching the 5th string. So have it fretting down on the 4th string, but up high enough so that's lightly touching the 5th string. And this is important because we want to strum from the 6th to the 2nd string like that. But we don't want that open 5th string ringing out. So we're muting it with our ring finger right there, touching the 5th string. So this is an E chord with our low E string ringing out and us fretting an E triad inversion. On the 4 end beat here, with our ring finger already on the 4th string, we'll hit this string and slide up to the 11th fret. Index finger will then go to the 9th fret of the 3rd string, and that's on the 4 end beat. So this bar in total, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Now for the next bar, in this position, we'll just take our thumb and curl it over the top to fret the 9th fret of the 6th string, or that C sharp note. So we're playing a C sharp minor here essentially in this position. So we're just focusing on that root note. On the 2 beat, we'll do another muted strum. And the second half of this bar is very similar to what we had at the start. So these 4 plucks. So this bar in total, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and then for this final bar, the first line of tab, we are going to get into this position. So index finger bars across the 4th frets of the 5th, 4th and 3rd, middle finger on the 5th fret of the 6th string. We're going to strike this position, but hammer our ring finger onto the 6th fret of the 4th string as we do it. And then lift our ring finger, just focus on the 5th or 4th strings, and then we get into an E position. So pinky on the 7th fret of the 5th string, ring on the 6th fret of the 4th string, and you can just focus on those lower 3 strings. And that's on the end beat after the 2. On the 4 beat, we'll do 1 more muted strum. So the final bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... That's it for the first line of tab, which will sound like this. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, during the second line of tab, this is where the lead overdubbed guitar kicks in the studio version. I'll teach you that part after this main rhythm part. So we go back to this position for the second line of tab, ring finger on the 11th fret of the 4th string, index finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd. We're going to focus on these 2 strings, muted strum on the 2 beat, then on the 3 beat, we'll hit these 2 strings again. Index finger will bar across the 9th fret of the 5th and 4th. We're going to hit this double stop and hammer our ring finger onto the 11th fret of the 5th string. Then move our index finger to bar the 9th frets of the 4th and 3rd. Hit those 2 strings, back to the 11th fret of the 5th, and slide out of that. So the lick in total, 3 and 4 and the bar in total, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and... Then for the next bar, we're going to get into this A position. So ring finger on the 7th fret of the 4th, middle finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd, and index finger barring across the 5th frets of the 1st and 2nd string. And your thumb will reach over the top to hit the 5th fret of the 6th string. And as it does that, it will also lightly touch the 5th string so we don't want that ringing out. We're going to hit the root note, and then on the 2 beat, we'll focus on the higher 4 strings, like that. So 1 and 2. Then we'll shift into this position. So index finger will bar across the 4th frets of the 4th and 3rd string, and middle finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Now, as your index finger is focusing on the 4th and 3rd strings, you also want to have it up the slightest amount so that it's touching the 5th string, because we want that string muted. We're going to strum from the 6th to the 2nd string, but also hammer our ring finger onto the 6th fret of the 4th string, like that. And notice how that 5th string is muted. On the 4 beat, we go back up to the 9th fret of the 5th string, hit it and hammer onto the 11th. And we do the same on the string below it. So 4 and the bar in total. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So we hold this note into the next bar, and on the 2 beat, we'll bar our index finger across the 9th frets of the 3rd, 2nd and 1st strings. Hit that. Then we're going to do some muted strums. So it's just a down, up, and you can do that by just lifting your fretting hand, but making contact with the strings. So it's a down, up, and then 9th fret of the 5th string, hammer onto the 11th, double stop on the 9th frets of the 4th and 3rd, and back to the 11th fret and slide out. So this bar in total, 2 and 3 and 4 and then for the 4th bar, it's very similar to the 2nd bar, except we don't have those licks at the end. So it's just that A to E. And again, really important that you mute that 5th string. So that's it for the second line of tab, which sounds like this. 1 And the main intro in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, Let's learn the overdubbed lead guitar in the intro. Now I'm going to teach you how you can do this on one guitar. In the studio recording, it's two guitars overdubbed on one another, but I'll teach you how you can play it on one single guitar. And this is more or less how Robbie McIntosh plays it during the Live in LA performance. Now in terms of tone, it's similar to the main rhythm part, but I've added an overdrive pedal and I've added some delay to it as well. So we're going to take our index and middle finger and put them on the 12th and 14th frets of the first and second string. And this is on the 4 beat. And then we'll take this position, go up to the 14th and 16th, hit this position, but then slide up to the 17th and 16th. Like that. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... We hold into this position. On the 3 beat, we'll go back to this 16th and 14th position, hit this double stop and do the slide back up. And then on the end beat, back down to the 16th and 14th. On the 4 beat, down 2 frets. And then on the end beat after the 4, we move down to the 11th and 12th frets. So 3 and 4 and... For the next bar, we'll stay in this position and hit these 2 strings, but slide up to our starting position. Back down to the 12th and 11th fret position. We keep our middle finger where it is and then put our ring finger on the 13th fret of the 3rd string and hit that on the end beat after the 2. And so far for this bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and... On the 4 end beat, it's the same as our lead-in notes. And that's it for the first line of tab, which sounds like this. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... For the second line tab, we hold onto this position, and the second half of this bar is similar to what we've had previously in that first line of tab. So slide up from 16th to 14th, and then descend. For this final bar, we'll go to this 13th and 12th fret position with our ring and middle, and then we'll shift this down 2 frets to 11th and 10th, and then move our middle finger down to 9th, and then index finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And that's it for the overdub lead, which will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 2, 3, and 4, and 2, 3, and 4, and... Okay, so now we get to verse 1, and this is all rhythm guitar stuff. Again, the verse chord progression is very similar to the intro chord progression. We're just playing around a C sharp minor, A, and E at the end of the day. But we're adding fills and licks in between them. So we'll start with the C sharp minor chord shape. So our thumb reaching on the top to hit that C sharp, ring finger on the 11th fret of the 4th string, and index finger barring across the 9th frets of the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st string. And you want to have your 5th string muted, and you can do that by having your thumb lightly touch it, or with your free middle finger lightly touch it there. Alright, so that's C sharp minor. We're going to start with the root note. On the 2 beat, we'll do a strum on this chord, and then we have a lick. We'll slide up to the 11th fret of the 5th, 9th fret of the 4th, back to the 11th fret, and then index finger bars across the 9th fret of the 4th and 3rd. Hit this position and hammer our ring finger onto the 11th fret of the 4th string. And we do the same thing with the 5th and 4th, and then lift our ring finger and hit the 9th fret of the 5th and 4th strings. So that will sound like this. And the bar in total. Then we go down to our A shape that we've learnt in the intro. We'll focus on the 4th, 3rd and 2nd strings, and then a bigger strum on the 2 beat. And then we'll go down to this E triad shape here, and we'll just strum from the 6th to the 2nd string. Now remember, we want our ring finger lightly touching that 5th string so that that doesn't ring out when we're strumming everything here. So 1 and 2 and 3, and on the 4 beat we have a little lick, so we'll just hit the 4th fret of the 3rd string, then 6th fret of the 4th, 4th fret, and then 9th fret of the 5th string. Like that. So the bar in total, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Then we'll jump back up to our C sharp minor, hit the root note, and then on the 2 beat, a strum, like that. And then the lick at the end is a slide up to the 11th fret of the 5th string, 9th fret of the 4th, 11th fret, and back to the 11th fret of the 5th, and slide out. So the 3rd bar. For the 4th bar, we'll play our A, so root note, a strum on the 2 beat, and then hammer into our E position, like we did in the intro. Then we'll go up to the 11th fret of the 5th string, slide down to 9th, then 7th, 9th fret of the 6th string, and then 7th fret of the 6th string. And I like to do that with my thumb because I'm going to need to go back up to the 9th fret with my thumb anyway. Like that. So the final bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And first line of tab. The first and second bars of the second line of tab are just the same as the 3rd and the 4th bar in the first line of tab. So we've already learnt that. For the 3rd bar, we're going to go back to our C sharp minor, hit the root note on the 2 beat, do the strum, and then we're going to play those descending notes that we had in the intro. Like that. And then we'll go to this position where we bar our index finger across the 4th frets of the 5th, 4th and 3rd string. Similar to what we had in the intro, and when we strike this, we hammer our ring finger onto the 6th fret of the 4th string. And then lift our ring finger on the 2 beat, just focus on the 5th or 4th strings, and then we're going to get into this E sus2 position. So pinky finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string and index finger bars across the 4th fret of the 4th and 3rd strings. And we'll just strike those 4 strings like this. So the final bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So that's it for the second line of tab, and verse 1 in total will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. We get into chorus 1, there's 2 lines of tab here. We're going to get into a B at 11 position like this. So it's very similar to our A position, but we are going to let the open first string ring out with this shape. Now again, we don't want our 5th string ringing out. You can mute that with your thumb as it's reaching over to hit that B note. So this is our B at 11. You can just focus on these 4 strings if you want to, but I like having my thumb over there just as an insurance policy. So we're just going to be strumming this at 16th notes. Feel free to experiment with your own strumming pattern or rhythm, but I'll just strum this with a consistent down-up motion at 16th notes. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a Then we'll go up to our C sharp minor. So thumb on that C sharp, ring finger on the 11th fret of the 4th string, and index just bars across the 9th frets of the 3rd and 2nd string. So that's C sharp minor. Again, we want our 5th string muted. I'll keep strumming this up until the end beat after the 2, where I'll then go down to the A. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. 3rd bar is the same as the 1st bar. Then for the 4th bar, we go C sharp minor down to an F sharp minor 11. So it's similar to our C sharp minor, but down at 4th and 2nd frets, but your index finger will only fret the 2nd fret of the 3rd string and will allow the 1st and 2nd strings to ring out. So the final bar, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. For the second line of tab, we going back to our C sharp minor for a full bar. Then for the final bar, we're going to our A. And with this A, you can let the open 1st string ring out as well. And then ending with this E shape here on the end beat after the 2. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. And then on the 4 E and a beat, we play that lick that we had in the 1st verse. Like that. So the final bar, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E. So the chorus in total. Now during that chorus part, there's more overdub guitar parts as well. I'm not going to dive into them because they're quite subtle and I feel like they're not super important parts of this song anyway. But during the B, for example, it'd just be the pinky finger hammering on to the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And that little pattern being played consistently. After chorus 1, we have the break. Now during the break, there's the overdub lead guitar. Let's learn what the rhythm guitar is playing. So we're going to get into our C sharp minor, hit the root note on the 2 beat, we'll strum the chord. And then our lick is going to be a double stop here of the 9th frets of the 5th and 4th string, hammer onto the 11th, like that. Do the same on the 4th and 3rd strings. And then hit the 11th fret of the 4th string and slide out. And that bar in total, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we go to our A chord, bass note, strum on the 2 beat, and then we're going to hammer our ring finger into the E position. Then on the 4 beat, 9th fret of the 5th string, hammer onto the 11th, and then same on the 4th string. So the bar in total, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Hold that note into the next bar. On the 2 beat, we'll strum that C sharp minor. Then for this lick, we'll do a double stop on the 9th frets of the 5th and 4th string, hammer onto the 11th, up to the 9th fret of the 4th, then another double stop, hammer on with our ring finger onto the 4th string, and finally we'll hit the 9th fret of the 5th string and slide out. So this lick. And for the 4th bar, we have our A to E. And the lick at the end is just slide down to 9th, 7th fret, and then 9th fret of the 6th string. So that's it for the break section rhythmically, which sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, next we get to this second verse and we're going to get into our C sharp minor position, hit the root note, and then focus on the 3rd, 2nd and 1st strings with our index finger. That's on the 2 beat. On the 4 beat, we'll just move our index finger down to cover the 7th frets of the 1st and 2nd string, and we'll focus on those notes. And that's on the 4 beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we play our A and hammer into our E. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The 3rd and the 4th bars are almost identical except we add in the final little lead lick, which is, that's it for the first line of tab, which sounds like this. For the second line of tab, we start off the same way. 4. Go to our A, hit the root note, strum on the 2 beat, but we're going to bar our index finger across the 9th frets of the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings and hammer our ring finger onto the 11th as we strike this position. And you want to have your open 6th string there as well. And then we have a lick here, so lift your ring finger, hammer onto the 11th again on the 5th string. Then move your index finger up to play a double stop of the 4th and 3rd strings. But as we hit the double stop, you'll hammer and pull off on the 11th fret of the 4th string. And then we'll go back to the 11th fret of the 5th string and 9th fret. So that lick. And the bar in total. Then back to our C sharp minor position. Strum on the 2 beat, and then that's it for that 3rd bar. For the 4th bar, we just go to this A position. So 5th fret of the 6th, 4th fret of the 5th string, muted strum on the 2 beat, and just the 7th fret of the 5th string with the open 6th string on the end beat after the 2. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so that is verse 2, which sounds like this. Then we get into chorus number 2. Now chorus number 2 is basically identical to chorus number 1. It's just those chords that we've strummed, but at the very end we then kick into our guitar solo. Now I'll teach you the guitar solo that is played in the Live in LA version. It's just the tiniest bit different to the studio recording version, but I really like the Live in LA version because there's just a bit more bite to it. So when we jump into the solo, I just change tones. With this tone, I have a tube screamer pedal with the gain turned up quite high, and I'm also adding some delay to the tone as well. So at the very end of chorus 2, we'll go to 9th fret of the 2nd string and hammer on to the 12th fret, like that. So those are effectively the lead-in notes to our solo. Then we'll go to the 14th fret of the 2nd string, hit it and bend it up and release. Then 13th fret of the 3rd string, and we're going to do a 1.5 step bend here on the 13th fret of the 3rd string. Now what that means is that we're targeting the pitch that is 3 frets up from the original note. So hit that 16th fret of the 3rd string, that's where we want to bend to. It's quite a heavy bend. When you're bending notes in general, it's a good idea to use more than one finger to bend your note. Don't just use one finger to bend because you're not going to have enough strength there. Use your ring and your middle finger together and you should be able to get that 1.5 step bend. So bend and release, and then we go down to the 11th fret. We'll bend up a full tone with your pinky finger, hit the 12th fret, and you'll also want to have your 3rd string still bent here because we'll hit it and release that bend. So that'll sound like this. Then down to the 9th, back up to the 11th fret, hit it and pull off to the 9th, and then with your ring finger slide from 9th to 11th fret of the 5th string. So that whole lick. And at the very end of this bar, we'll go 9th fret of the 2nd string, 12th, and up to 9th fret of the 1st. This solo is just based off of the C sharp minor pentatonic scale. And so far, 1, 2, 3, 4. For the second line of tab, we'll go up to the 12th fret of the first string. We'll hit this note and we'll do a quarter bend. So a really slight bend and then bar your index finger across the 9th frets. Hit the first string and the second string. So we'll do that twice. Back up to the 12th fret. We'll do a full bend here and then release and hit the 12th fret by itself. And so far. For the next lick, 9th fret of the first string, 12th fret of the second, pull off to the 9th, 11th fret of the third, bend, and then hit the 11th fret, pull off to 9th with your middle finger, 11th fret of the 4th string, back up to the 11th fret of the third with a bend, down to 9th, and end back on the 11th. And so far. So we'll hold that onto that note and then we'll pull off to the 9th. So you don't need to pluck it again, just hold on to that 11th fret from the previous one, pull off to the 9th, then 11th fret of the 4th string. Then you'll take your index and ring finger to the 11th and 12th frets of the 3rd and 2nd string. Hit these 2 strings and slide up 2 frets. Down, up, down. So after that, we'll then go down to the 9th fret of the 3rd string, then 11th fret, pull off, hit that 9th fret one more time, and then slide out on the 6th string. So you can hit the 12th fret and slide out. So that final lick, and the second line of tab in total. And all together for the guitar solo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we get to chorus number 3. Now I changed back to a clean-ish tone. It's got the slightest bit of overdrive to it and I've got delay on this particular tone now. So this is chorus 3, which is a little bit different to chorus 1 and 2. We are starting with our F sharp minor 11 here, like this. And we're just gonna strum this with a down, up. And on the end beat after 2, we'll go to our C sharp minor. So down, up, down, 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 up. Of course, feel free to experiment and improvise with the rhythms. As long as you play within that 16th note framework and change chords on the end beat after 2, it'll sound fine. But I'll just play this pattern for consistency. Down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Then we do the same with our B at 11, and then back down to F sharp minor 11. The third bar and the fourth bar are identical to the first and second bar. For the second line of tab, we go F sharp minor 11 to C sharp minor, and then B at 11 down to our A. So down, up, down, up, down, 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 up. For the third bar, we go up to the C sharp minor, and I'm just going to strum that continuously. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for the final bar, A to our B. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So that's it for chorus 3. It's just chords and strumming really, and it sounds like this in total. Okay, so next we get to the outro of the song. In the studio recording, it's just that C sharp minor, A and E chord progression just played through until the song fades out. I'll teach you the live in LA outro though, So for the first two lines of tab, we are just kind of strumming that C sharp minor A to E. With the C sharp minor though, I'll also add the pinky finger onto the 12th fret of the second string. And we'll strum that at 16th notes, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and A, B. That's repeated through 4 times essentially. For the final time, we'll hit the E, and then we'll gear up for the epic solo. So after we hit the E, what I personally like to do is, for this particular setup, I like to go to the full neck pickup. It just sounds a little bit meatier for the solo, in my opinion, and for this setup that I have. Then I switch to my lead guitar tone, and we're gonna start with the 11th fret of the 3rd string. We're gonna bend and release down to the 9th fret, and that's the lead in. Then for our next line of tab, we go to the 12th fret of the 2nd string, bend, and you can do some heavy vibrato there if you want. Or you can just bend it and hold it in one position. So we do the same thing. And then for this next lick, 9th fret, 12th fret of the 2nd string, pull off to 9th, hit the 11th fret of the 3rd, bend up, and then bar your index finger across the 9th frets to hit the 2nd and 1st strings. So then ring finger on the 12th fret of the 3rd string, hit it and slide down to the 11th, then 9th fret, and all of that together. Then for the next bar, we'll go 11th fret of the 3rd string, bend and release, hold it, pull off to 9th fret, 11th fret of the 4th, 9th fret, then 11th fret of the 5th, 9th fret and slide down to 7th, then we go back up to the 11th fret of the 5th and slide down to 9th. And for the first half of this bar, and everything so far. Then for our next lick, we'll go 7th fret of the 5th string, 9th fret, slide up to 11th, and 9th fret of the 4th string. So for the final lick, we'll go 9th fret of the 2nd string, 12th fret, play a full bend, then 9th fret and 11th fret. So the second half of this final bar. For the next line of tab, we'll start by hammering on from the 9th to 11th, pull off 12th fret of the 2nd string, pull off to 9th. So for the next section, 11th fret of the 1st string, hold it, pull off, 12th fret of the 2nd, pull off. So for the next little section, slide from 11th to 12th fret of the 1st string, hold it, pull off, then 12th fret of the 2nd and pull off. So then finally 12th fret of the 1st string, slide up to 14th fret, and then back down to 12th fret. And the bar in total. For the next bar, we'll go back up to the 14th fret, do a full bend, release, down to the 12th fret twice, and back up to the 14th fret, hit it one more time, and bend, release, and back to the 12th fret. So the second bar. And we'll take a step back and play from the second half of our previous line. Next line of tab, we go 14th fret of the 2nd string, hit that and do a full bend and release. Down to 12th fret twice, and then 13th fret of the 3rd. So for the next run, 13th, 12th, 14th, 11th fret of the 1st, and then back to 14th fret of the 2nd, but we're going to do a 1.5 step bend here. So and this bar in total. Next bar we go 12th fret, 14th, 12th, hammer on and pull off, 13th fret of the 3rd, and then hit it again and do a half bend. Back down to the 13th, and so far. For the next lick, 11th fret, 13th fret, hit it again and do a half bend. Then we'll hit that 13th fret again, pull off, and slide down to 9th. And that will take us to our next bar. This line of tab in total. So for this next line of tab, we have our 9th fret here that we've slid into from the previous bar. So we'll then go to the 11th fret, hit it, pull off, back to the 11th fret, hit it, bend and release, pull off, then 11th fret of the 4th string, pull off, then 11th fret of the 5th string, pull off, and slide down to 7th. So this whole lick. Then we go up to the 11th fret of the 3rd string, slide up to 13th, 12th of the 2nd, 14th, and this bar in total. For the next bar we go up to 16th, 17th, 19th fret, and we start bending. So we do 3 bends here, and then down to the 17th fret. So this line of tab. For the next line of tab, we go up to the 19th fret of the 1st string, full bend. On the next beat, we'll hit the 19th by itself, then 17th, bend on the 19th fret of the 2nd string, and then 17th fret. So. Then we go back up to the 19th fret, bend, 19th fret, 17th fret twice, and then 19th fret of the 2nd string, we do 3 bends there, and then end on the 17th fret. So the second bar, and the line of tab in total. For the next line of tab, back up to the 19th fret of the 1st string, bend and release, 19th fret, 17th fret, 19th fret of the 2nd string, bend and release, and then 17th fret, hammer and pull off, back up to the 19th fret, and we're going to bend, and then 17th fret 3 times. And so far there. And then on the very end of this bar, we're going to slide up to this position. So 17th fret of the 2nd and 16th fret of the 1st string. So that's just a down up stroke. Alright, so this bar in total. I'll take it back a few lines of tab and it will sound like this. So for the next line tab, we're going to hit this position one more time, slide out. On the 2 beat, we'll go back to this with a down up, then down to 16th and 14th with a down up, and then 14th and 12th, and then 12th and 11th, and so far. 14th fret of the 2nd string, bend and release, and then 12th fret. So the bar in total. For the next bar, back up to 17th and 16th, 16th and 14th, 14th and 12th. Then take your ring finger, bend the 14th fret twice, then hit the 14th fret one more time, and so far. Then 12th fret, we're going to hit it and hammer on and pull off to 14th, 13th fret of the 3rd, back up to 12th fret. So then with your middle finger, 14th fret, and slide up to the 17th. And this bar in total. And the line of tab in total. For the next line of tab, 17th and 16th fret position with a down up, then 16th and 14th, then down to the 12th fret of the 1st string, so then 14th fret of the 2nd string, bend, hit the 14th, then hammer on and pull off from the 12th to the 14th, 13th fret, back up to the 12th fret of the 2nd, and then we're going to hit the 14th fret and do a 1.5 step bend. Alright, and so far for this bar. Then we'll go down to the 12th fret and do a 1.5 step bend. And then hit it twice, and up to the 14th fret, and slide out. And then to end this bar, we'll go 14th fret, and then 16th fret of the 2nd string, but we'll bend it up a half tone. And you can do a little bit of vibrato there. And in total for this line of tab. For the next line of tab, we'll go 14th, 16th, bend a half step, release, hit the 16th, 14th, 12th, hit the 12th again and hammer onto 14th. Then 12th and 9th fret. And so far. And then to end this, we'll go back up to 14th fret and 16th and bend it up a half tone. And the line of tab in total. For the next line of tab, we go 16th fret, bend a half step, then 16th, 14th, 12th, 9th fret, then 7th, 5th, 7th, and slide up to 9th. And then to end this, back up to 14th and 16th fret with a half step bend. So this line of tab. For the next line of tab, bend, release, 14th, 12th, hit the 12th fret and hammer on, 12th and 9th, so. Then we end with the 14th fret and 16th fret bending up a half step again. So the line of tab in total. The final line of tab, bend up a half step, normal 16th fret, 14th, 12th, 9th, and then down to 7th. And then we have an outro run, which I'll teach you in a sec, but I just want to take it back a few lines of tab so we can piece it all together and hear how it sounds in context. Okay, so for the outro line, there's a lot of hammer-ons, pull-offs, and slides here, but it sounds really cool. So we're going to go down to the 5th fret of the 2nd string, hammer on, pull off, then 7th fret, slide up to 9th, 12th, and back down to 9th. So there's all slides up and down there, and we've only plucked the string twice. So then hit the 7th fret, hammer onto 9th. Then we'll do it again, but we'll go hammer on, pull off, and slide down to 5th. So then we'll go hammer on to the 7th, pull off to 5th, and slide down to 4th. So that bit. Then hammer on to 5th, up to 7th, slide down to 4th. And taking it back to the 7th fret here. So we can break this up into 3 smaller chunks. This first bit, and this next bit, and then this next bit. And then with our index finger down to the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and then we will slide down to 3rd, back up to 4th, back down to 3rd, and down to 1st fret. So we hold that note until the very end, and we can just strum an E major chord to end. So this outro bit, that's the outro solo. In total, it will sound like this at a slower speed. If you want to see it in the full speed, go to the playthrough at the end of this lesson. Now, finally, for the main part of this song, I'll teach you the harmony that Robbie McIntosh plays during John Mayer's solo. Now, for the main part of the solo, he's just playing that overdub lead riff that we've already learnt earlier on in this lesson. But when John kicks into the main riff at the end of his solo, Robbie plays the harmony to that. So to play that, he starts on the 12th fret of the 1st string, and then 14th fret, and bends up a full tone. We hold that out for a bit, and we bend it up. Release, 14th fret, 12th, 11th, hit it and hammer on to the 12th, back down to the 11th, and then end on 12th fret of the second string. And so far. Then we end this bar with those same two lead-in notes. Then bend again, 14th, 12th, 11th, 12th fret of the second string, and then 14th fret. Then we go down to the 7th fret of the second string and slide up to 9th. And all of that. For the next section, we'll start off with the same lead-in notes. But with this note bent, you're going to take your pinky finger and then put it on the 15th fret of your string that's already bent. Pluck that, and then release, and then hit that 14th fret and bend again. So that's a little bit tricky, and you kind of need to have a long pinky to do it, or otherwise it's kind of tricky to stretch. I don't have a very long pinky, so it's just manageable for me, but so far. And then bend again, 14th, 12th, 11th, hammer on to 12th, 11th, 12th, and so far for that section. And for the next section, same lead-in notes. And then bend, 14th, 12th, 11th, 12th fret, up to 14th fret, and then 7th fret and slide up to 9th. And that's how we end. So this final lick. So that's the harmony guitar that's played at the end of the solo. Okay, finally we're going to jump back to the start of the Live in LA version. I'll teach you how John plays that before the full band kicks in. So John finger picks this, so we're going to do away with the pick. There's 7 lines of tab here. So to start this off, index and middle finger on the 8th and 9th frets of the 3rd and 4th strings respectively. We'll hit these 2 strings and then slide this position up to 9th and 11th frets, like that. Then with your middle finger, go to the 11th fret of the 5th string. We'll pluck the 5th and 4th strings. With your thumb, reach over the top to hit the C sharp note, and then back to this original position with your index and middle. And then up to the 11th and 9th fret, and we'll pluck that. So these 4 plucks. And then we'll end by barring our index finger across the 9th frets of the 3rd and 2nd strings. We'll pluck those 2 strings, then 11th frets of the 4th and 3rd, bar the index finger across the 4th and 3rd of the 9th fret, and then 11th frets of the 5th and 4th. So, and the first bar. Then we'll go to this A position, so thumb reaching over the top to hit the 5th fret of the 6th string, ring on the 7th fret of the 4th, and middle finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. We'll pinch the 6th, 4th, and 3rd strings, and then pluck the open string, do a muted slap, so just drop your hand onto the strings, and then shift into this E position. So ring finger on the 6th fret of the 4th string, index on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. And we'll pinch the 6th, 4th, and 3rd strings. So 1 and 2 and 3 and... On the 4 beat, we'll slide our ring finger from 9th fret to 11th on the 5th string, and then pinky on the 11th fret of the 4th, and then thumb reaching over the top to hit that 9th fret of the 6th string again. So in total for the first line of tab, for the second line of tab, we'll start in this position again, except the difference is that we are hitting the root note at the same time as this position. So we'll pinch the 6th, 4th, and 3rd strings together. Shift this position up, pluck these 2 strings, muted slap, root note, back to this original position, pluck these 2 strings, and slide up. And then bar your index finger across the 3rd and 2nd strings, and hit those. And so far. and we end a similar way as the first bar. For the next bar, we'll go to our A chord like this. We have our index finger on that 5th fret of the 2nd string though. So we hit the root note, pluck the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, and then we'll do a muted slap, but at the same time, we'll flick our index, middle, and ring finger onto the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, like that. So your thumb will come down onto the side, but these fingers will flick. And then we'll go to our E shape, and we'll pinch the 6th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings on the end beat after the 2. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now in this position, we'll hit the open 6th string, then pluck the 4th and 3rd strings, and as we do, you'll slide your ring finger up to the 7th fret. So a bit of a stretch here, then back down, pluck these strings, and then 4th fret of the 4th string. And the lick at the end. And the second line of tab in total. For the third line tab, we just go to our C sharp position and hit that C sharp note and hold it there for a little bit. Then we go back to this E position that we had earlier, pluck the 4th and 3rd strings again, and slide up to 7th. Back to this original position, 4th fret, 7th fret of the 5th, so that lick in total. Then we go to an altered A position, so it's interesting. So we have our thumb hitting that A note, but we have our ring finger on the 7th fret of the 4th, index on the 4th fret of the 3rd, and middle finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string like this. So hit the root note, then pluck the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, then the 3rd and 2nd strings, and then shift into our E position, and then pinch the 6th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. And so far. And then the lick at the end, bar index finger across the 9th frets of the 3rd and 2nd, then ring finger on the 11th fret, middle finger on the 10th fret of the 3rd and 2nd strings, pluck that, and slide up 2 frets. And the third line of tab in total. For the fourth line tab, we get into our C sharp minor position with our thumb over the top, pinch the 6th, 3rd, and 2nd strings together, then move your index finger up so it's hitting the 9th fret of the 4th string, pinky on the 11th fret of the 3rd, pluck those 2 strings, then shift positions to our regular C sharp minor, so ring finger on the 11th fret of the 4th, pinch the 6th, 4th, and 3rd, then move down to 9th and 8th frets, and the first 4 plucks, then 11th frets of the 5th and 4th strings, and 9th frets. Then we're going to pluck the 5th string, hammer on to 11th fret, 9th frets of the 4th and 3rd, and back to 11th. So, and in total. Then we go to our A, pinch the 6th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. Then pinky finger comes onto the 7th fret of the 2nd string. We're going to pluck the 3rd and 2nd strings. Pluck it again, but slide up 2 frets. And then to our E. So. And then we have a lick here where we go up to the 12th frets of the 1st and 2nd string. We're going to pluck the 1st and 2nd strings and hammer our ring finger onto the 14th fret. Then index and middle finger on the 13th and 14th frets of the 3rd and 2nd strings. Pluck them and slide down 2 frets. Then 14th fret of the 4th string, 11th, and then down to 9th. And that lick. And that's it for the 4th line of tab, which sounds like this. For the next line of tab, we get to our C sharp minor position, pinch the 6th, 4th, and 3rd strings. Then back up to this position, do that hammer on. Then this position and slide down 2 frets. 14th, 11th, and then 14th fret of the 5th string. And so far. Then back up to this 11th and 12th fret position. Pluck these 2 strings and hammer our ring finger onto the 13th. Then index finger goes to the 13th, slide down to 11th, then 14th fret of the 4th, 11th, then 14th fret of the 5th string. And that's second half. Then we'll take our thumb, hit the 7th fret of the 6th string, and slide down to 5th. Let's rewind a tiny bit from the start of this higher lick. So now that our thumb here is on the 5th fret of the 6th string, we'll get into our A position, pluck the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, and then E, pinch that, and then we have a lick here that goes 12th fret of the 2nd, 11th fret of the 3rd, 9th, 11th fret of the 4th, then 11th fret of the 5th, hit it, slide down to 9th, and then end on the 7th fret. So that lick, and that second bar. For the next line of tab, we get into this position with thumb over the top to hit that C sharp, and index and middle finger on the 8th and 9th frets of the 3rd and 4th string. We'll do a pinch here, then move up to this position, pluck the 4th and 3rd strings, then pinky finger on the 12th fret of the 1st string, then a muted strike on the 6th string. Or you can hit the root note as well if you want. So, and for the next section, back to this position, so pluck the 4th and 3rd strings, a muted 6th string again, then down to this position, back up to 11th and 9th, and this section, then pinky finger up to 12th fret, then index finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, middle finger on the 10th fret of the 2nd, and then just have your index finger barred, and then this original C sharp minor position. So that second half. And the bar in total. Then we go to A, do a full pinch here. Then pluck the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, but hammer your pinky finger onto the 7th fret of the 2nd string. And then E. So. And this line of tab in total. For the final line of tab, we repeat that previous bar again. And then one more time, but for the final pinch of that E chord, we're just gonna focus on the 6th, 4th, and 3rd strings. So that's it for the Live in LA intro, finger picked, which will sound like this in total. And those are all the parts for this electric version of Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. So now I'll be doing a full playthrough of this song. I'll also have a vocal track on top for some context. Feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitar0tohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.